What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're going to jump in and talk about Black Armory. So we're going to talk about a bunch of the mysteries associated with Black Armory. Interestingly, some of Black Armory's exotics have now been declassified in the database. So firstly, we can get a better look at these weapons, also we can see their lore, but does this potentially mean that we're getting closer to actually earning the first Forge exotic? Well, we will talk about it in this video. We do, however, have new information on some of the exotic quests in Black Armory, secret Black Armory papers, which are actually bugged in the game right now, but are associated with exotic quests. We'll talk about some stuff to do with the mysterious box. We will speak about Niobe Labs and how this will feature into Black Armory, some info about Forge challenges that are going to reward visual and power upgrades for some of the Forge gear. But quite a bit of stuff to talk about when it comes to Black Armory's content and the Forges, but we can also take a look at some of the curated Forge and raid weapons now in the database. Yes, they do exist for every new themed weapon, and we've got a couple of Dawning related things to round up, as well as info from Bungie about drop chances from Engrams. So it should be a pretty info-packed video, guys. If you do enjoy this one, a rating really helps me out down below, but without further delay, let's get into it. So as I mentioned, a bunch of stuff has been declassified, and it does mean that we can get a bit of a better look at some of the exotic gear coming in Black Armory. So we've got the Le Monarch, of course, and we can see a better preview of the weapon right here. Quick spoiler alert, but we can also see lore for the weapon now. So the flavor text reads, wings flutter, beauty distracts, and poison injects. The butterfly's curse extends to your enemies, a short life, shortened further by your hand. We can also see Jotun, and we get a better preview of it right there. Once again, we can see the lore tab for this. Interestingly, it's a letter to Henriette Mayrin. We'll talk a little bit about what that means in just a moment, but the fact that these exotics have been declassified is certainly pretty interesting, because the other items that were declassified are the Forge weapons that we've obtained up until now, as well as the raid exotic. So the timing is certainly pretty interesting, especially when you consider that the Izanagi's Burden Sniper hasn't been declassified, and we know that that one won't actually be available for a little while because it is linked to the Izanami Forge, which launches next week. Now though, we'll talk about some of the quest stuff associated with these weapons, the Black Armory papers, which are bugged right now, but they are linked to some exotic quests. So firstly, when the raid was actually completed, there was a notification in game, and it said the Black Armory's vault has been recovered, along with it, the Black Armory papers, the personal journals of Henriette Mayrin. And that's the same character that the lore refers to on the Jotun, but it says unfortunately Civics got to them first and tore out many of the pages. Ada 1 insists that you find them and return them to her so that the journals may be whole once again. And it does say complete Fallen Forge ignitions to retrieve the missing papers from the Kel Scourge. However, they haven't been dropping from the Nessus Forge, and of course right now we do have fallen enemies in that forge. However, there is reference to Civics. This character featured in the quest to unlock Kafanen Forge, but we didn't actually kill the enemy during that quest, and Bungie did post a little teaser trailer where we get a bit more of an insight about Civics.
Someone must have found another forge. This Civics attempts to steal what we hold dear. This abomination deserves to be broken. I will not rest until this forge is recovered. Civics must not learn our secrets.
Now we will finally be able to defeat Civics, but it appears that that will be linked to a quest that will happen a little bit later on, so we'll talk about that in just a moment. Firstly, we now have a little bit more information about Mysterious Box and how long this is actually likely to take to unlock. So it turns out that when we complete the Mysterious Box, we're actually going to get a decryption device, so it's not immediately going to give us an exotic or anything like that. And from the interactions, it looks like Ada 1 will be able to discover further instructions for an unidentified weapon frame from this decryption device. And some folks have speculated that the obsidian crystal we can see right here is actually the device that she's talking about. But we get a bit of an idea of how long it will take to actually open the Mysterious Box right here. So it looks like one of the keys, the Black Armory key, will actually require the Black Armory key mold in order to be produced. So we're not simply going to get the fourth key, we'll first get a mold, and that mold is going to come from Niobe Labs as far as we can tell. So there is an interaction right here with Ada 1. Niobe Labs, Ada 1 is stunned by the Guardian's discovery. A secret Black Armory facility known as Niobe Labs lost since the Golden Age. Within it, a mold for a key was found. Ada 1 passes it to you, trusting that you can discover its purpose, and she urges you to search the facility and further unearth its secrets. So that process will have to actually take place before the Mysterious Box can be opened. There are also other mission activities associated with the unidentified frame, but it seems once Niobe Labs has actually been unlocked, as Ada 1 says, there will be further secrets there for players to uncover. Now, I've previously spoken about the Baguzia Forge. This is a hidden forge in the game, and in reference to Niobe Labs, which is suspected to be some kind of dungeon dungeon activity. With the unidentified frame quest, there is a section that says travel to Niobe Labs in the EDZ and place the unidentified frame in the Berguzia Forge. So it seems that Berguzia is actually inside of Niobe Labs, or indeed will be accessed via Niobe Labs. Now those papers, which currently aren't dropping in-game, can be viewed in the database, so you can see the different lore entries that are actually inside of here. And the final entry does have a pretty interesting bit of information, and we actually learn that Ada 1 was born a second time in the Niobe Labs. So the labs themselves are capable of essentially producing exos, which is certainly very interesting. There are plenty of other spoilers that you'll find if you do decide to read through these, but also as part of the Berguzia Forge quest, we'll need to finally defeat Civics. So Mysterious Box is very much going to be the long-form quest as part of Black Armory. It'll essentially conclude as we unlock the final bits of major content for Black Armory. But I would speculate personally that Jotun, as well as Le Monarch, are actually going to be discovered before that. It's very possible that there is even a hidden trigger in the game right now, and it's simply the case that we have to discover how to find these weapons. Now though, I'm going to speak about an upgrade that some folks have asked me about on some of the Forge weapons. So there is a socket right here on the weapons that you can see, and it's called Base Radiance. Restore your weapon to its default appearance. There's been a lot of questions about what exactly this means. We can't see visuals for these, but there is an item called Obsidian Radiance. It's described as being able to increase damage during Forge ignitions, and the source for this, apparently, is to complete a Volunda Forge ignition during a challenge month. So obviously we don't know what challenge months are, or if they're actually still planned to come into the game, but essentially there is going to be some kind of upgrade slot. You put the Radiance mod into the weapon, and it's going to have some kind of visual effect and potentially a sandbox element as well, if what the database is saying is true. So that's going to be really interesting. But with that reference to Obsidian Radiance, it may be the case that this is going to be something we'll find later on in Black Armory as well. But let's mention some Forge stuff briefly. The weapons that have been declassified can now be viewed in the database, so I'm using LightGG here, and that means we can see curated roles for some of these weapons. So of course, Kindled Orchid is now available via the frame from Ada 1, and the curated role for this actually consists of Corkscrew Rifling, Drop Mag, Kill Clip, and Rampage. So you actually get Kill Clip and Rampage on the curated version of this weapon, and the Masterwork stat for this one will be Range. For the Tatara Gaze Sniper, the curated role is Chambered Compensator, Accurized Rounds, Snapshot Sights, and Box Breathing. That's certainly pretty nice. The bonus stat will be for Handling. The Hammerhead Machine Gun can get Hammerforged Rifling, Armor Piercing Rounds, Feeding Frenzy, and Rampage, and that also comes with a Handling Masterwork. But then for the Ringing Nail Auto Rifle, the curated role will be High Caliber Rounds, Dragonfly, and Rampage, which is a pretty nice roll right there. The stat bonus for this one will be Stability. Those are the Forge weapons we can see with curated roles in the database right now, but in the raid there is the No Feeling Scout Rifle. The curated role is Appended Mag, Full Auto Trigger System, and Zen Moment with a Stability Masterwork. The Bellowing Giant Rocket Launcher comes with Countermass, Impact Casing, Tracking Module, and Cluster Bomb, so that's a pretty nice roll with a Masterwork improved for Velocity. Tempered Dynamo, the Fusion Rifle. This is going to get Particle Repeater, Backup Plan, and Rampage. The Masterwork will be Handling, and the Threat Level Shotgun Masterwork is Barrel Shroud, Light Mag, Trench Barrel, and Grave Robber with a Range Masterwork. So those are the curated weapons that we can see right now. I guess as you repeatedly forge the frames over and over in the forges, you have chances to get the Masterwork versions, and in the raid they are simply Masterwork drops that you get at particular encounters. But it's definitely cool to have a few new curated roles to go after. Now though, let's jump back to some stuff about the Dawning. Yesterday I did make a video breakdown of all of the materials, how you can obtain them easily, as well as every combination to bake the gifts for folks in the tower if you're trying to farm out items and stuff like that. I did speak about the Avalanche Machine Gun. Of course you get one when you complete the base quest for the Dawning, but we now have confirmation that if you want to get multiple versions of this weapon dropped for different roles, then you essentially just have to keep completing gifts. It is a completely RNG drop when you turn gifts into vendors. Eva's Holiday Oven can indeed be masterworked, and basically you have to complete one of every single gift inside of the oven, and then it will reduce the Essence of Dawning cost for all recipes, so essentially you can keep farming after that much cheaper. But there is a triumph associated with this, and apparently you have to craft at least one bad item before you masterwork the oven, otherwise it can affect some of the triumphs. So make sure you don't go through and just do all of the exact combinations that are on the list or things like that. Throw a random combination in there at some point, get a Burnt Edge Transit, and you should avoid any issues. There are a couple of emblems associated with Dawning. Not quite sure how we'll actually get them. Could be from Triumph rewards, but we do have Delicious Benefactor, as well as Holiday Treats right here. So these are just some bonus additional Dawning drops. Funny thing I mentioned here, Bungie did actually make a post with a list and a breakdown of the drop chances for all different items inside of cosmetic engrams. So it's pretty interesting. You can see the drop rates for exotic accessories like ghost ships and sparrows. They don't have an account knockout, and this is in the Season 5 Bright Engram. They do have a 2% average drop chance. You can see that some of the legendary stuff becomes much more common. Armor pieces have a relatively good drop chance at 16%, and there is a breakdown for this for Gleaming Boons, as well as Dawning Bright Engrams. So I'll link that one down below if you are curious and you want to check it out. But guys, for today, that is going to summarize the video. So a whole bunch of interesting stuff about Black Armory there. I think we're getting close to one of the first exotics from the Forge. I really hope we can pick one up this week. That would be really neat. But we do have another Forge launching next week. And of course, we've got the Dawning, power leveling, plenty of other content to repeat and grind this week as well. So let me know what you're grinding right now inside of Black Armory or Destiny 2. But if you have enjoyed this video, guys, a rating is very much appreciated below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit subscribe to see a lot more D2 content. But for now, whatever you guys get up to, I appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you have an awesome day.